Haganisika. Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday and Thursday. Today, I have Sigrid with me. She is amazing. If you haven't heard about her, go and look at her Instagram and listen to her podcast, Sacred or Intimacy Within. I'm so excited to have you and share this message with the world about how to unlock your full potential. And what is so important is when we unlock our full potential, it really gives us, the inspiration and power and clarity in our focus. So thank you so much for joining me today. And go ahead and tell everyone about you and what you do in your purpose of your leadership coaching.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor and a pleasure. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Sigrid Tasies, and I am an embodiment in leadership coach, an author, a podcast host, a speaker, and also a forever student of the plant medicines. So what I do is integrating purpose and success in a way that supports leaders and entrepreneurs to really embody their message and their mission so that they can amplify their impact and the results in the world from a space of deep anchored purpose and emotional fulfillment. And I'm very excited to be here speaking about leadership because that's my jam. That's what I'm passionate about.
Well, thank you for being on. I know it's early there in Australia, so thank you for taking the time out of your morning to be here and have everyone listen to your expertise in this area and share your dreams and hopes with everyone. And so thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. So let's just get right into it. Let's really talk about what it means to unlock your full potential. So in your field of work, what is the main thing people have to do to overcome their experiences so they can unlock that full potential?
That's such a great question. And I feel like what gets to happen and what most entrepreneurs and leaders come to me with is an inner disconnection. So we live in a world where we are so prompt and encouraged to look outside of ourselves. And yet we aren't taught and guided to understand ourselves, to really heal whatever needs to be healed, to get to know who we are and what we truly want to do and how we want to lead in this world. And leadership is for everyone. You can be in leadership of yourself, in leadership in your relationship, in motherhood, fatherhood, at your job. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to have a business in order to be in leadership. But I see this inner disconnection that happens. And a lot of people know that they want to create an impact. They know they want to support others or create a business, have a conscious way of living and leading. But the disconnection with themselves gets in their way to truly unlocking that full potential. So I feel like the first thing that needs to happen is to really regain that power within and to get to understand who we are, what are we here to do, what do we feel called to do, and what are all of the limiting beliefs, all of the insecurities, all of the fears, all of the traumas, and more often than not, all of the misalignments in our lives that are getting in the way of us fully being in embodiment of what we are here to do.
I absolutely love that embodiment. That's such a powerful word because it means that you're going within, it's not just this surface level healing or transforming yourself. It's embodying it, becoming it. So that is so powerful. I love that you mentioned that. And so we're on our journey to embodying our full potential. What do we do now? How do we integrate that into our life? If you're married, how do we become that with a spouse? What are your tips on doing that?
So the first thing that gets to happen in order to bridge that gap between who we want to be and who we actually are is making space to really get to know ourselves. And I get that life gets busy sometimes and we wake up in the morning and we have to choose what we wear and what we have for breakfast and do our hair and makeup or whatever happens before we get into work and then achieve things. And really this life that we live in the Western world is so fast paced that a lot of the times we don't know how to find this space to have time with ourselves. And a lot of the times as well, we fear that. We fear being alone. We fear asking certain questions. We fear looking at the parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at. But unless that happens, we can't get to that space of embodiment and unlocked potential. So the first tip and the first thing that I recommend everyone doing is really creating pockets of times to be with yourself. Even if you just sit in silence. It doesn't matter if you have 10 children and 3 husbands. Like really look at how can you create, even if you have to wake up 10 minutes earlier, how can you create a space where at least to start the day, you start connecting with yourself before you connect with everybody else. Because otherwise what happens is that we wake up and we turn on our phones and we have notifications and people are sharing things on Instagram. So there goes a comparison, gets triggered, or we have messages and emails and things to respond to. So we're allowing the world to come at us, but we never create space for us to come at the world. So there is this need of really create pockets of time to be with ourselves. So if someone doesn't have, someone listening, if any of you doesn't have a practice of really being with yourself, that's the first thing you get to do. Create, even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning, to be in silence, to breathe, and to choose an intention for your day. Because life's going to happen. And there's so much that we learn every day. But the majority of times, we're not aware of what we learn because we're not living intentionally. And something that's crazy is that it's actually scientifically proven that 90 to 95% of our daily thoughts are the same ones as the day before. They come straight from our subconscious. So if we don't start developing an awareness of who we are, what we fear, what we think, what beliefs we may hold on to, what happens is that less than 10% of our actions, reactions, behaviors, decisions are actually intentional. So it's very hard to live a life where we are really stepping into that full potential if we can intentionally and consciously choose it. So first things first, start making time to be with yourself and intentionally choosing what you want to experience, what you want to call into your life.
I absolutely love that. I get up every morning and I meditate. That's the first thing I do before I check my phone or even like get out of bed. Sometimes you have to stay there. And I know it's hard to do that. But once you start getting in the rhythm of it, it feels good. And if you miss it, it feels like your whole day falls apart, honestly. So I think that's important. Like we need to be aware of being, just connected with ourselves, at filling out, okay, how am I feeling today? Okay, what is something I need to experience for me? We are so driven by serving others that we forget to serve ourselves. And I think starting the morning off in that serving yourself space is going to open up so many doors for you. So I love that. I resonate with it. So let's talk about the importance of integrating meditation, integrating, self-awareness, because that is honestly, the first step to unlocking your potential. So what is your experience with that?
I have such a long morning routine and practice, and I learned that the hard way. So I had a past in corporate, and I had a life in Barcelona, where I'm originally from. And my life was very much like that, fast. Wake up, check your phone, get ready to go to the office, and then after office, you probably go for a few drinks, and then get home, go to sleep, repeat. And it wasn't until I was blessed with an experience of anxiety and experiencing deep anxiety to the point where life just became very hard. And I had not ever experienced something like that I came in contact with a coach, and I started to learn the importance of really having those practices in place. So ever since I went into this path of really learning more about myself and meditation, taking up a practice. At the time I started yoga and things like that. And my life became a lot different because I was having those times and that intentionality with my life. But in saying that, when I started my business, and I know this happens for a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I can be calm on my holidays. I can be calm where I have, time off.
Yeah.
But when life gets busy, it's hard. And I learned this the hard way. When I started my business, my coaching business, I had so many beliefs around what success was like, what business was like, and how business was done, that even though I had all those practices and I knew how to meditate and I knew how to do the yoga and all of the things, I overworked and I put everything I thought was important and needed before my real primary needs. And through burning out 3 times in a year, I finally came to understand the importance of having that practice. So right now, I do have a practice where I meditate every morning and I journal every morning. I personally practice prayer, and I've learned from different elders from different cultures, indigenous cultures. So I have an altar and I pray at my altar every morning. And I start my morning with that intentionality. So it's definitely something that it's crucial that we do. But I know that for a lot of people listening, they might be like, well, I don't have an hour to start my day. Like my practice is like 2 hours every morning. Some people don't have the time. But like you said, starting the day with meditation, just something simple that really creates that space is super important. And if you don't have, or it feels like meditating for 20 minutes is way too much, then just start with a couple of questions. Take a journal, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself, what is something that I want to let go of today? What is something that I want to work on letting go of or bettering? And what is something that I want to attract? What is something that I want to call in? And even just that, having that intention creates a huge difference in your life and in the way you run your business and you show up in your relationship, because you are bridging that gap between you and the world. So it's definitely important. I love that you have that meditation practice, because as you said, we focus so much on helping others and serving others, but it all starts within. And it's incongruent to want to help others if we're not helping ourselves, or to want to help others connect with themselves, love themselves, be confident if we're not doing that. So everything and anything starts within. The way we relate to business, relationships, leadership, it all comes back to us. And this is why it's so important that we do have a practice of connecting to ourselves and knowing ourselves.
Yeah. So for the people who are listening, and I do different types of meditation, since we are learning how to meditate, some of us have been doing it for a long time, where would you say to start? So those people don't know what meditation is. Where would we start besides journaling? What is your go-to meditation that you would recommend for people to listen to?
So I don't listen to guided meditations anymore. I practice Vedic meditation, which is an epic type of meditation, but you do need to do a 4-day training in order to learn how to do that meditation. But there is so much out there that you can do for free. So even just going into this free app that you can download on your phone called Insight Timer, that's something that I recommend my clients doing when they don't have a practice of meditation. Just go into that app and you have thousands of different teachers and different modalities and different lengths as well. So if you think that meditation 10 minutes is like hell, then just go for the 3-minute meditation, for the 5-minute meditation, and maybe try out a few ones so that you can see what works for you. Because I truly don't believe in this one size fits all, but rather there will be things that work for me that don't work for you. So that app, Insight Timer, and I'll just write it down here so that they have it. It's super easy. It's free. You have so many meditations in there. And then from there, you may be guided into a meditation. You resonate with it and you're like, oh, I can do that on my own. The next day, just do it on your own without your phone, even better. But just starting is important. And I feel that for people that have never meditated, having a guided meditation is a lot easier.
Yeah, I also listen to sound bowl therapy, and that's really relaxing. You know, you let go anything in your head, or you even are raising your vibration. So that's a really good one too. So let's talk about the importance of integrating your purpose. How do we find our purpose? And how is finding our purpose leading us to becoming our full potential self?
Great question. I feel like when people think about finding their purpose, there's this idea of dharma, the one thing you're here to do, the one mission you were born with. And I think that our dharma changes and it varies. How we go about our purpose varies. But the thing that makes it easier to really get to know what our purpose in this present moment is to chip away the layers of conditioning that tells us that we can't be who we are. So it's funny, a lot of people neglect themselves and avoid doing the healing and avoid understanding the limiting beliefs and the different patterns that they're running under. But then they want to find their purpose. But you can't find your purpose until you know yourself. And you can't find your purpose until you soften that inner critic voice that tells you that who you are and what you want is not good and it's not worthy. It just doesn't work. You can go ahead and try to find your purpose, but if there's a voice within you that says you're not worthy, you're not capable, you're not enough, you're not safe, then you aren't going to listen to that voice. And even when that voice of purpose speaks to you, you won't pay attention to it. So the first thing I feel it's very powerful to align with your values. Really ask yourself, what are my core values? And for those of you listening that are, what even are core values? You can even just jump on Google and take list of core values and you'll find a huge list. Just pick the 5 that you resonate the most with and start asking questions that will get you to understand better who you are. Because your purpose, usually, when we know ourselves, when we are connected, when we feel worthy, when we feel safe to go for it, is very clear. The inspiration comes up, and your purpose doesn't need to be something huge that's never been done before. It's usually just that one thing that you would like to do, even if you weren't being paid for it. That one thing that you wake up in the morning thinking about, that thing that hurts you the most, that thing that you really want to see change in the world, or that thing that you really enjoy doing and that you could do for hours every day. That can be your purpose. But if there's so many layers of conditioning that say that what you want is not enough or not good, or that you're not worthy of having life be easy, or that if you do what you want, people will criticize you for it, and then you're not safe and you don't want to be seen, all those stories, and you won't be able to listen to your purpose. So in order to really unlock that fullest potential, again, it starts with us. It has to start with really understanding who we are. What do we love? What breaks our heart? And what are some of the thought patterns that we're allowing within ourselves that don't allow us to really listen to that inner voice that tells us what's next? So if you're listening to these and you feel lost for guidance with this, go ahead and pick your 5 core values first, and then ask yourself, what is something that if I had $10 million in my bank account, I would do for free? And what is something currently happening in the world that breaks my heart? So your purpose for work doesn't need to be the same thing that you want to change. For instance, I have a huge desire to support the indigenous people in the Amazons. That's something that it breaks my heart to see people that are living in such harmonious way with the earth, with one another, with the universe, be mistreated as savages, as fauna and flora, or like something that doesn't really matter. It breaks my heart to see that our society pushes those cultures to live the way we live, which it's kind of proven that doesn't work that well.
Right.
But in saying that, I'm not an Amazon activist. My purpose with work is to help people awaken to their true selves, so that then we together can create a change in the world. So the thing that breaks your heart might not be the thing that you need to work on 24/7, but really ask yourself, what do I feel passionate about? What do I enjoy doing? What is something that I'm good at that I could, make a living doing? And what do I need to do in order to get started? And it's a long journey of really chipping away so many layers of conditioning, but it starts with you having the awareness of what it is that you want to do. If we don't know, we can't get started. And then you might be like me, having a business that is doing something different, not directly saving the Amazons, but so much of the money I make in my business goes back to supporting communities and getting people to understand the importance of supporting those communities as well. So you can bridge those worlds, but it all starts with you understanding, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I care about?
Yeah, that is like so much gold nuggets right there. Everyone who's listening, comment below like what you're pulling out of this video, because oh my gosh, that is so inspirational and like I felt it. So oh my gosh, thank you so much. And let's think about something for a second. What does that look like when we all come together? We've all reached our full potential and now we're serving each other. What does that even look like? Because isn't that the whole point of becoming our full potential self?
Well, if we all do that, I guess we haven't seen that yet. So how does it look like? I can tell you how I think it will look like and how I dream it will look like. I really think that there's a lot of things that get to shift in this world. And the majority of times, people act out of integrity because they don't feel safe to be themselves. I feel like when one is truly happy and truly in purpose, it becomes very clear and obvious that we get to love one another, we get to support one another, we get to give. But when we feel, I see it as the small self, like self with small s, and the big self, the higher self with capital S. And the majority of people nowadays, and I include myself, the majority of times I'm a human, and we live in this small self, which is all about me. And this is why really discovering your purpose and unlocking your fullest potential is so important, because it's not just about you. It will benefit your life and the lives of people that come into your space, but ultimately it will benefit the world. Because if I feel good and I'm no longer worrying about whether I'm good enough, whether I'm going to have money to pay the bills, whether I will be judged or celebrated, whatever, when I feel truly good, then I can have so much more to give from the overflow. If my cup is empty, I have nothing to give. But when my cup is full, from that overflow, I can give and serve a lot more. And if we all did that, then imagine the world that we could live in, where communities that are being marginalized and targeted by systems that don't support life on earth and don't support justice, don't support peace, are doing, we could all come together and get creative about how do we create a new way of living. Listen to the elders, to the people that know how to live in harmony with our environment, with the earth. Listen to the masters, the sages, the wise people that have been meditating and understanding so many concepts that we have never even asked ourselves. But that starts like that. So this is my biggest dream and my biggest vision is that ultimately there will be more conscious leaders, more intentional people living in their purpose, unlocking their fullest potential. And through that, we'll be able to recreate a society that really has everyone's needs and everyone's benefit in mind and at heart. So the ripple effect of what can happen when we all step up is a new world, completely changed, and that really supports everyone. We don't have to go through this rat race of, am I good enough? Do I have enough? Will I be able to pay my bills? Some people are dying. Some people are being this. Some people there's enough room for all of us, and there should be enough food for all of us, clean water for all of us, a piece of earth for all of us. So I think I hope and pray that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like, comment below, everyone, what you're going to do today and tomorrow to set that intention to really unlock your full potential. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being on today. You shared so much wisdom and it was extremely powerful. Is there anything else you would like to leave with the people who are watching?
Well, for everyone that's watching, if anything resonated from this, if anything really landed, just make sure that you take it and run with it. Like really apply it, because it's easy to watch a video and be inspired and be like, yeah, Sigrid, onto it. They know what they're talking about. I really love this interview, but don't do anything about it. And a lot of the times we don't do anything about it because we think there's no point, but there is a point. And what you want to do, you finding your purpose, you healing yourself, you unlocking your fullest potential matters. It's important. And it will change your life, and it will change your family's lives, and it will change your clients' lives, and it will change the world ultimately. We are at a time on earth where we need conscious leaders more than ever. So whether you are an entrepreneur and you consider yourself a leader, or you're someone having a regular 9-to-5 job and leading your family, you matter, and your purpose matter, and your happiness matters. So really take whatever resonated the most with you from this interview and make sure that you apply it. See how it feels. See what this can create for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Everyone, comment below if you're catching the replay so we can say hello to you. And oh my gosh, it was a pleasure interviewing you. I enjoyed this interview so much, and I hope everyone's taking something from it and actually taking action and applying it into their life on a conscious level. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, wherever you're at, and we will talk to you later.
Lots of love.